Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of 12 on Health. Our focus today brings us to the intersection of health and public safety. Doctors are in on the campaign to get people to stop texting while driving. Here's why. OMG, you have to see this video.
Please don't.
3 young girls riding along, having a blast. The driver is texting within a second. The fun comes to a tragic halt.
Which has been a horrible accident.
This graphic ad on YouTube was made in the UK.
If you look at the wreckage on the road, there was a pileup on the road, no different than what we'd have on I-95.
We have Dr. Michael Marks joining us now. Dr. Marks is a VP Business Development at Norwalk Hospital with many years of experience in the OR as an orthopedic surgeon. And I should probably say one of his big missions right now is to get folks not to be distracted while driving. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Your years in orthopedic surgery, you've seen a lot.
I've seen a lot, and it's really tragic because just like that video showed, in 1 second, everything's great, and the next second, a life is destroyed. And we see it over and over and over again, and because people don't realize how dangerous distracted driving is.
We were just going through some old file video and found one accident after another that the authorities attribute to texting while driving. We're going to show some of that video while we talk about the statistics are unbelievable.
It really is shocking. And it's probably underreported, the amount of texting that actually goes on. National statistics say 20% of adults say they do it, 40% of teenagers. But I gave a lecture at a local high school, and I asked them, how many of you have texted while driving? And 100% of them answered that they had. And that becomes a problem. Or been in the car with somebody who was texting, 90% of them said that they did. So I think what the reality is, it's actually much worse. And
of course it's illegal, but it's kind of so part of our culture, this social networking and texting, that it's almost, it's difficult to ask someone not to.
Well, we've become Pavlov's dogs. The phone rings, the phone buzzes, we have to have immediate response. And what I've told a lot of people is, don't put it where you can reach it. Stick it in your glove compartment, turn it off. I have one person who told me, I realized I couldn't control myself. He sticks it in his trunk because you really don't need to do something that phone call may be very important.
Right.
But your life is probably even more important.
That's a good idea. I know my stepson puts it in the console and closes it and doesn't allow himself to open it, you know. But it is tempting. We're also used to being connected 24/7, nonstop.
And it's more than just texting. It can be almost anything in the car. We were talking before. I recall driving in no man's land on Merritt Parkway and seeing a guy with the New York Times spread out in front of him while he's driving to work. Yeah. Well, I saw that guy get into a fender bender one day because you're not paying attention. Yeah. And it only takes a millisecond to take your eye off the road and something bad to happen. Yeah,
we had that one case locally where the young girl was driving, checking a website perhaps, and ended up killing a jogger.
Right, and that's just one story. We've talked about some videotape that's out there from the National Safety Council that girls driving home from her college graduation, and they were hit by a driver who was distracted by texting. But it's more than texting. It's also speaking on your cell phones. There's a study done that shows that actually 37% of your brain function is distracted by talking on the phone, whether hands-free or by handheld. So our state law allows you to talk Bluetooth or anything like that, but it's probably not any safer.
You're saying to keep your eyes on the road and your brain in that moment.
Right, and part of it is that unlike any other thing that's out there like drunk driving, there are 3 impairments that occur when you are distracted driving. You're manually distracted because your hands aren't on the wheel, they're on a cell phone.
Right.
They're visually distracted because you've put something in your line of vision in front of you. And finally, as we talked about before, you're cognitively because your mind is on either the texting or the phone conversation.
And you've said we're offenders if we're eating, if we're applying makeup. I hate to admit I've been there. It's one of these things we have to be more disciplined about.
There's no question. I just recently heard from one of my daughters that one of their friends was in a fender bender. She was using her iPhone and Google Maps in order to get directions.
That was her warning.
And what happened was she was looking down at the map to see where her turn was, yet the cars in front of her had stopped, and she wound up banging into the car in front. Fortunately, no real damage, but it really shocked her.
Yeah.
And she has sworn off at this point. She realizes how dangerous. That's a relatively minor way to learn as opposed to somebody dying.
Right, that's a good warning. All right, we have a break, but I want to remind people that you're giving speeches at local schools. You're on a mission, so it seems to me if anyone wants to hear about what can come of distracted driving, they can contact you. Can I have one of those? I want to end this segment with this. Dr. Marks is passionate about stopping driving while distracted, and he's asking folks to put these magnets on their cars.